Sam here from Guitar.com at the Ernie Ball booth, and we've just conveniently bumped into James Valentine from Maroon 5. So James, this guitar has been a resounding success. People seem to love it, but what you've done now is you've launched it in new colors. So tell us about this new color and tell us about the design process and the success of the guitar.
Yeah, we're really stoked on this guitar. At the beginning, we just wanted to design, I wanted to design something that would work for the entire Maroon 5 set, and we got a lot of different types of vibes as songs. And so, we wanted one guitar that could hit a bunch of different styles, and very excited about the new colors. We're calling this Classic Natural, because we had this sort of unfinished natural before, which is great, and a lot of people really like that. I play that one every night, but this is more of a vintagey sort of natural. It almost looks yellow, but you can still see the wood, and I love that about, because we've got really great wood. See the individual patterns, each one's different. It's great.
So how did you start or develop a relationship with Ernie Ball? Because Ernie Ball has worked with a variety of artists, but a lot of the artists they work with are not necessarily in the same sort of genres and styles of music that you play. So how did you come to work with this brand?
Well, it happened very organically, and it's kind of a long story, but 20 years ago, I go back 20 years with Ernie Ball. 20 years ago, my band from Nebraska won the National Ernie Ball Battle of the Bands. And we won $25,000, which we used to move out to LA. I mean, that's kind of really what kicked off my career in music. So I really owe it to Ernie Ball. So I've had a relationship with them ever since. So they had talked to me for years about doing a signature model, but I had always kind of been like, I'm happy with the guitars that I play. But they said, come in and let's kick around some ideas. And we started talking about my favorite guitars, which are a Telecaster and a 335. Two guitars that would seem not to have much in common, but we sort of started to play with the designs of those two guitars and stumbled upon this sort of design that we were really happy with. I wanted to create something that was classic looking, something that looked like, you could have found it in a pawn shop, but that was new. Because I don't see the point of just making, another Stratocaster or another Telecaster.
Like an undiscovered classic in a way.
Exactly, yeah. So that was the vibe we were going for, and I think we totally achieved it. But it still has some of the modern appointments that make it very playable on stage. And it's, because it's got the coil tap, turns this humbucker into a single coil. It's got the volume boost that's adjustable, so you can just make it a couple dBs or really like push your amp, and it's all been very useful for me.
So what about the neck taper? Was that something you specified as well, or was that just a standard Ernie Ball neck shape?
Yeah, we went through the Ernie Ball factory, and I just played a bunch of different necks, because I'm not like a super technical engineering sort of dude. So we just picked up necks. It was like, hey, this feels good. Hey, let's try this. We built a bunch of prototypes. I was like, hey, can you take a little off of here, a little off of here, and we ended up with this, landed on this neck. But one thing that is unique about this guitar is the tapered body, and that came out of, we wanted to do a slab that was like a Tele, but the prototypes were really heavy and not particularly ergonomic. And Sterling Ball came up with this idea just to do a slight taper, and it's barely noticeable, but it's a little thinner at the top than it is at the bottom, which it makes it a lot lighter, but also kind of improves the way it sits on your body.
Just that little bit of subtlety makes a huge difference to the playability of the guitar.
Absolutely. So I was learning a lot about through this process, because I had never really thought about designing a guitar, but that's why working with these guys are such experts. And I mean, obviously, like, pick up any of these guitars, they're just brilliant.
So has it changed the way you approach guitar playing, or is it sort of just combined the way you would approach a 335 and a Telecaster?
Well, it's made things a lot simpler for me. I don't know if it's changed the way that I've played per se, but the goal was always to have one guitar, because I was sort of switching. Some songs I'd be using like a Les Paul, some on a Telecaster. So, the only reason I switch guitars throughout the night is for different tunings. I've got one to standard, one to E flat. Otherwise, I'd probably use the same guitar the entire set. And that was always my goal. And for that reason, it's great in the studio too. If I show up to a songwriting session or to play on somebody's record, I don't necessarily know what they're going to want, but you come in with this guitar and pretty much your bases are covered.
Fantastic. James, thanks so much for meeting with us and
Thanks
talking
a lot.
to us. See more from this great new model over on guitar.com.
Boom.